Hi there folks, Cyko here to give you a video on Shinobi. I was originally going to give you a video of me playing through Shinobi, but after I gave a little bit of thought, I'm actually going to give you guys what I would call a tutorial video to give you a little bit of insight as to what your Shinobi character can do in Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master. Mainly so that there's a few little tricks that I use that you guys can see, and you won't be any sort of confused when you see me do them. Because I'll tell you what, it took me a little bit to learn some of these. First thing I have to tell you, don't hit A. If anyone here has ever played this game on the actual Genesis system, you know, back when you were 6 years old or whatever, the first button that you hit when you want to check what the buttons do is A button. First thing you do is waste your ninjutsu. It's the worst feeling in the world. What is ninjutsu? Well, I'll probably go over that later. But right now, don't waste it, so don't hit A. You get one ninjutsu per level. It's not that big of a deal that when you lose one ninjutsu, especially when you lose it in the beginning of the level, and honestly, there's a secret to find it in the first level. I found an extra in the first level anyway, but still, it's not cool when you waste it right then and there. B button is actually your attack button if you're playing on the Genesis. C is your jump. B button attacks go straight. I don't care if you jump or whatever. You jump, crouch, whatever you want to do, they're going to go straight. Whatever direction Shinobi's facing, that's the direction you're throwing them. If you do not want to use your shuriken, because they're quite nice to have, or if you just flat ran out, don't worry about it. You are a prepared ninja. You got this. You have a melee attack. Melee attack is not the greatest attack in the world, but trust me, it will come in handy plenty of times. You shouldn't often run out of shurikens, but if you really do, it's an interesting last resort because it also doubles as a projectile destroyer. Most people don't know this, but your melee attacks actually knock projectiles out of the air. They just destroy them. They don't deflect them. They're just gone. This is actually pretty useful, but tends to be used as a last resort because you really don't often run out of shuriken and you really don't often need to take out a projectile when you're more likely to just kill a guy throwing them before he throws them. But if you do need to do a melee attack downward, because sometimes you just need to hit something below you, you do have a dive kick. The dive kick can actually be done regardless of distance or if you have kunai or not. Just hit down and attack when you're in the air and you drop your foot into somebody's jaw. It's really cool for a couple of reasons. One, it goes down. Kind of useful because you can't go down any other way. But the cool part is when it bounces. You actually hit them, bounce off of them, and you can actually do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. It's really freaking cool when you have those big bosses that like to stand there and get hit a lot. You just keep driving your foot into them. They will take it every time. It's also cool because it is a ground-to-air dash, if you think about it that way. You get down to the ground really quickly. It's really cool when you need to move around a lot faster. Get down to the ground fast. Be careful when you do this though, because if you don't have anything to hit, there's nothing to stop you. The dive kick even has this really cool feature where you actually can kick. Once you hit a wall, you can actually kick in the opposite direction. It's really useful, really cool, but not quite so easy to do. In fact, you probably shouldn't even worry about trying to do it. Just forget it. You see the point. If anyone has actually ever played Shinobi 2, or 1 for that matter, it's really annoying if you're coming from 3 to have to walk beyond everything. It's the most frustrating thing in the game. It doesn't even matter if you get your ass kicked in this game. It's really cool when you run past getting your ass kicked. Which brings me to my favorite move in the game. You actually have a dash attack. When you're running, you actually get a little sword attack. It's kind of cool. Well, first of all, it's a dash attack, so it's kind of nice. But more importantly, it actually gives you some invincibility. You can go right through those projectiles that you intended to destroy, which is a little melee attack. You can go right through them and just cut the guy down. It's actually one of the most effective moves because you can go through a lot of interesting things, and it's a great way to get some damage out there because it actually hits really hard. It hits for 4 times your normal damage, which is the same damage of this cool little power-up I meant to tell you about called the, power. It's literally POW. Find it on pretty much every level. You'll actually find a couple of them. It's a little power upgrade that actually increases your damage. So all your attacks, save a few, will actually hit for 4 times damage. The moves that are not affected are actually your dive kick and your sword slash. Your sword slash hits for 4 times damage anyway. It doesn't need a power upgrade. It kind of be OP after that. Your dive kick actually will hit for normal damage no matter what. It doesn't change when you actually do your thing, but that's kind of interesting because your dive kick you want to stay the way it is because it's really useful either way. Your shuriken actually come out looking like fireballs now. I don't really know what they're supposed to be, but I'm going to call them fireballs because that's kind of what they look like. Instead of your puny little two-piece slash, you actually get a nice sword slash when in your melee attack, when you don't have shuriken or when you're in close proximity. It's quite useful in a lot of ways because you can still knock out projectiles with it, but you have a bigger range to do it. One of the other abilities that I did not mention that you can is affected by this is your double jump attack. You have a double jump. You had one in the last game. You knew about the last game. You know about this one. You can't get past certain parts without knowing about this. You can actually double jump when you have to do it at the apex of your jump. It's actually something a lot of people don't realize. You have to do it right at the top. It doesn't work any other time. It's not like just whenever you want to double jump. It's at the top of your double jump. At the top of it, though, when you're actually doing it, you're spinning. And when you're during that spin, if you actually hit your attack button, you throw an 8 shuriken straight, well, not necessarily straight ahead of you, but in this like little cone of sorts. It's really cool for taking out a bunch of enemies or when you just need to get a lot of damage out there. There is a little bit of I call it a glitch. I doubt it was a glitch because I'm pretty sure it was intentional, but if you only have 1 shuriken left, you throw out the 8 shuriken attack, 8 shuriken are going to come out. It doesn't only cost you 1. You only had 1 to pay with. Kind of cool and a little bit useful. You don't really ever need it, but at times it'll actually come in handy. So the last thing I'll go over for right now is ninjutsu. There are 4 ninjutsu in the game, which thank God you didn't waste because I told you not to hit A. You were listening to that, right? Well, the ninjutsu you have, the first one that you almost waste, but really it doesn't matter, is the lightning bolt. The lightning bolt comes down, strikes you, and coolio, what does it do? You're invulnerable to the next 4 hits that actually hit you. Doesn't matter what they are. You're still going to die from falling into water, falling into a hole, which you're not likely to see too many of. But the next 4 hits that come your way don't affect you. It's really useful, mainly for holding on to power. That's actually one of the biggest things. There are a few other uses because you shouldn't need it to just stay alive, but it depends on how you play the game. The other ones, you have a super jump. You have like 7 copies of Shinobi actually jump into himself, and you now have a single jump that is the length of your double jump. Cool thing is, you still got your double jump. There are particular parts in the game where you don't need it, but it really does help, where instead of double jumping, you just single jump and get through it a lot quicker. It's mainly for those people that have a lot of trouble double jumping or just don't feel like doing it because sometimes it takes too much focus. The next 2 abilities are actually really cool, but at least for me, less often used. The fire dragon pillar? Fire dragon. We're going to call it a dragon because that sounds cooler. But the fire dragon attack. Literally, you pull out your sword and you call upon 4 pillars, dragons of fire. They come around the screen, swing around, and leave. They deal a ton of damage to a boss. It'll probably do about 75% of his health in damage, and it'll kill anything that's goony out there. It's really good for finishing off bosses or getting that like oomph in if you just need to do a lot of damage and get through them quickly. There are other ways to take them out, but it's actually pretty useful if you need it. The last one feels like the most useless ability in the game, but I'm telling you right now, it's actually pretty cool and it's actually one of my favorites. It's self-destruct. You get to kill yourself. Yay, you get to use an ability to kill yourself. It sounds really stupid, but it's actually pretty useful. First of all, it does damage. That's the best part. Okay, I know you can summon dragons to deal damage, but there's actually more to this. Imagine you're fighting the final boss in the game, you get him to half HP, at least you think he's at half HP, but you are at 1 hit. You can't take it anymore. You know you're about to die. That's when you pull out your sword and you commit seppuku, or whatever, however you pronounce it. Kill yourself, explode, deal a little bit of damage to him, and come back with full HP, another ninjutsu, and he's still at half health. Instead of restarting the fight, it keeps you right there and basically replenishes your HP at the cost of a life, which in that situation doesn't sound so bad, now does it? There are other ways to use it. I'm pretty sure it does some kind of like sick damage if you actually do it right, but personally, that's how I like to use it, so that's how I know it. So I'm going over for right now. You're going to have to catch me on the actual video if you want to see anything else. Nothing else that really needs to be gone over. You can figure out the rest as you go. Well, this is Cyko, and I'm signing out.